But I also want to say something about a question that was very big but asked in one sentence. What is the government doing concerning unemployment? The government came to power on bottom-up economic transformation agenda, isn't it? Bottom-up. At the bottom, you find the unemployed non-graduate. Then you find the underemployed graduate and non-graduate. The underemployed, those who earn 30,000 and below. I call them underemployed because they don't get much for the work they do. And then now we will find the graduates. They have graduated and they are not employed. These are the people the governments need to deal with. And how is the government dealing with them? Nyota Fund was brought for the unemployed non-graduates. And you know, people can say the money is kidogo. But remember, the people getting it are not saying it is kidogo. It is you and me and him who are saying, what is 20,000? But the person getting it, no, it is more than enough sometimes. Because when you walk at the markets in Kibra, markets in Oyugis, markets in Kwale, you rarely find those people doing business out there in those open markets having stock even more than 10,000. And there are people who begin business with much smaller capital than that. It is said in this country, how true I don't know, that there was once a man called Njenga Karume who started charcoal business with one bag of charcoal, splitting it into tins and selling it on retail. And it was said that charcoal had so good business that he would get more than another sack after selling one sack. So it depends on how you identify your business and where you want to start. And in any case, if you think 20,000 is not enough, there are millions of Kenyans who would even want 5 to start a business. So if you are taking 20 and it is too small, you are in the wrong bracket. Don't take it. Yes, you are in the wrong bracket. Let the people it will help do take it. So if we leave out the unemployed and non-graduate, we go to the lowly employed, those who earn very little. They will include non-graduates and graduates. What the president has done, after 3 years, which he promised that when the economy stabilizes after 3 years, Kenyans will have it well. Treasury has now, with the direction of president, proposed that those who are earning 30,000 and below do not pay any taxes in the form of pay as you earn. That is a relief. That is additional coins in your pocket. And that additional coins in your pocket will be more than what you are complaining that, oh, we are being made to pay affordable housing levy. That money will return all that now in your pocket, only after 3 years after taking office. So that person who is employed, and you know how many there are? 1.5 million out of the 3.65 million employed Kenyans are going to benefit that. And those who are between 30,000 and 50,000 are also having their taxes reduced from 35% to 25%. And this is a person, if we encourage him, that when he does things like that, we appreciate, applaud, and praise, I'm sure he's going to do more. Can we do that? Now, there is this category of the graduate who is yet to be employed. The president is deliberate on making TSC employ graduate teachers. And TSC, since President William Ruto came to power, has employed 86,000 teachers and another 20 is underway. That is higher than what Kenyatta One, Kibaki, Moi, and all those people ever employed. That is absorbing graduates off the job hunting market. Today, as we sit here, the Ports Authority in Mombasa has been directed to employ graduate trainees in their hundreds. one or two of you here could be a possible applicant. So is KRA and many other government agencies. So there's mitigation of this bottom-up thing in all cadres of people in the form of job employment. What we must also appreciate, as you accuse the president, not because he has sacked people from their jobs, not because he has refused to employ people, but because you are seeing many unemployed people in the streets. Weren't there such people in the streets before 2022? They were there. Is there anybody who can say, I was employed and the president ordered me to be fired? There's nobody. But there are those who can say, the president asked that teachers be employed, I am now employed. That Ports Authority employ, I am now going to be employed. That is how you work. But the fact that you hear so many negativities about the current government and the president does not mean it's that. This is a political game. Forget about the president. Let's go to the MPs and MCS. You have heard what they say about each other. Kuna hata wengine wanakuja wanasema fulani hata hawajawahi kuoa, ni bibi za watu ndiye anatembeanga naye. Na ni uongo. Kuna wengine wanasema fulani sijui ndiye alioa. In politics it is lie after lie. And if you become vulnerable to those lies, you will believe some which are even embarrassing. And there's something about human beings. They tend to believe who they love and don't believe who they hate. I was personally a teacher at one point in time. And when I did research on parent, teacher, child relationships, I discovered that two children fight in school. A alikosea B, akampiga. Let the parents came. None of those parents will believe his child was on the wrong. We are the parents of politicians who come from our regions. That is why we all from Luoland agreed with Raila and all from Central agreed with Uhuru. Yet we have the same information about them because we are inclined to believe those we love. That is why you see parents, you know your child is being a pickpocket, but you'd rather prefer him run your business than Ongoya, who has never been known to pick anything. You still don't trust him because you believe you are kith and kin with all their faults. So today, I want to tell you something which you need to take home and think through it. The war that you see today against the government of President William Ruto is born out of issues of legacy, issues of resources, and issues of ethnic domination. It is the truth. Every tribe wants to dominate the rest. It is the truth. Every politician who get into office want resources from this country. Didn't you see the governors are saying they don't want to appear before the Senate? And they bring a stupid reason like they are being exploited. If you have not committed any crime, why do you give anybody money? And nobody has brought a gun over your head, bring money. If you have nothing to cover, if you have not committed any offense. So everybody who gets into these places want resources. So if they see somebody else in that seat, they are worried that is going to make resources and maybe control us in the future. If they see one not from their community in that resources, they are looking for a way of removing them and putting one from their community. That is what is happening. And then, if you have been on that seat and your performance was below par, and you see somebody trying to perform, you will pay anything to remove them. I know politicians who have gone and seen a project done by their opponent. They send goons to go and destroy it at night. Haven't you heard of things like that? It happens. And that translated to the national government where the president is concerned. So, take for example, you see, most politicians from the central province today, the ones who helped President William Ruto get to power, many of them have run away from him even when he has done no mistake to them. Because they are running home. Politics is local. So look at these things very carefully. But how is President trying to mitigate some of these things? Because people complained about taxation and so on. Tax has been reduced, but development must continue. So he's bringing the idea of the sovereign fund to use to build roads like Rironi Mau Summit instead of taking loans like we took for SGR, instead of taking loans that we took for expressway, instead of taking loans that we took for the Thika to Nyeri Road. Because people are complaining of taxation. But when we get sovereign fund from assets of Kenya being sold, people are complaining. But let me tell you something about those assets. Take, for example, the most profitable company, Safaricom. Whatever the government gets as dividends from Safaricom, they can get more from improved taxation, from business that would be thriving because Rironi Mau Summit Road has been built. You are young, but before the Eastern Bypass was built, the one that goes Utawala, Ruai, Paka, Ruiru, those places were ghost towns. Immediately that bypass was built, Utawala became a city on its own bigger than Kisumu. Ruai became a city on its own bigger than Nakuru. Ruiru is a town on its own because of that single road that did not even cost 10 billion to build. And the taxes those businesses are going to pay are better than whatever you would get if this money was not used there. Kenyans will benefit more with Safaricom being given to private people to run and that money used to build a road that will deliver food to the West, a road that will improve the time you travel by half, a road that will make those places livable. I once proposed that we do a dual carriageway, Ngong Road, Kiserian, back to Kitengela. These people who you see are fighting for houses in Kilimani, Ngong Road, will go and live there because they will need 10 minutes to get here. Today it is easier to live in Mololongo and Syokimau than actually live on Ngong Road there. Is it that true? So this is what infrastructure does. The building of Oxford University brought the Oxford City infrastructure. So the president is very clear on what he wants to do. Forget about what the naysayers are doing. After all, we went onto the road 3 months after President Ruto was sworn in, talking about cost of living. This cost of living, you are asking him to put a switch to switch it off. He found it there. And he said, I have not even had my first budget, and you want me to switch off the cost of living because of politics. Don't listen even to your own brother when it is matters politics. They will lie to you. So I think, Mheshimiwa, we can look at whatever other questions will come, and then
yes, but before we go to the last round,